Lauren Boebert is still clueless, and yes, she is still a sitting member of Congress.
This has been an amazing week. President Trump obviously pulling off a great victory, the victory we've all been waiting for, and then him announcing so many amazing members of his team. These cabinet picks are phenomenal. And, we've been in a FAFO stage recently. We were in the FA and now we're in the FO. And so people are about to find out exactly what we are going to do with this MAGA agenda. I want to see a Thomas Massey as Secretary of Ag. I want to see a Brandon Herrera at the ATF. I want to see Bongino as the secretary there with the Secret Service.
As President-elect Trump rolls out his picks and potential picks for cabinet members, they're even more ridiculous than his picks were back in 2016. This all feels very familiar, though more unhinged possibly than before. Can't say that we're surprised. So here is Lauren Boebert talking about Don Bongino, a podcaster who she thinks should be the Secretary of the Secret Service, which is not really a thing. There is a director of the Secret Service already. I'm not sure what she thinks the secretary will do, or maybe she meant to say director of the Secret Service, but either way, she sounds uneducated because she is.
And I asked the gentlelady to yield for a question.
Gentleman's recognized. It's not my time.
I asked you to yield.
I have reserved. You're free to speak.
Yes, I'm asking if you'll yield for a question.
Sure, ask your question.
What funds in this bill are used for the purposes you are opposed to?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear the gentleman. I was getting clarification. This is precautionary.
On top of that, this person is barely qualified for the role, not that it matters anymore. He did serve as a Secret Service agent at one point, but these days he is a pro-Trump podcaster, and let's be real, that is the only reason why his name is even being floated for this not real role.
How is it that the dumbest people on planet Earth all find themselves attracted like a magnet, like a moth to a flame, to Washington, D.C.?
But honestly, he is more qualified for this role than many of Trump's other cabinet picks are, but no one seems to need any kind of relevant qualifications to be considered for some of the highest and most powerful roles in the country anymore. Again, this isn't surprising. During his first term, Trump appointed a woman to be the head of the Department of Education who wanted to dismantle the Department of Education. They couldn't get it done last time. I guess their fingers are crossed for more success in their endeavor this time around. He also appointed Rick Perry to be the Secretary of Energy, and Rick Perry did not even know what the role or the department did. Now we've got potential cabinet members like RFK Jr., who wants to remove the fluoride from our drinking water, I guess so we can all decalcify our third eyes and really awaken our truest inner beings. Note, being awakened is apparently not the same as being woke. One is good and the other is very bad. It's important that you don't get those confused. Removing fluoride is also good for raising IQs, according to people who believe we should not have fluoride in our water. Perhaps those are the people who are most hoping to benefit from this defluoridization. Trump has also suggested that the chief executive of a fracking company be named Secretary of Energy. That's fun. This guy is anti-climate science, which isn't surprising, and he certainly would not help in any kind of global efforts to reduce dependency on fossil fuels. Honestly, the best hope we have now for any of that are the tech companies who are bringing back nuclear energy because they need it to power their AI tech and their crypto farms, but that in itself feels very loaded. The truly frustrating part of all of this is that whenever you read discourse about any of this on social media, things are more divided than they have ever been. It's now mainstream to be vocally and unapologetically anti-vax in a way that is very disconcerting. People are anti-fluoride in the water, which was always more of a fringe belief. I saw someone joke that Trump was about to make a flat earther the head of NASA, and someone genuinely, unironically asked why people would be against Christianity and organized religion in general, as if they couldn't think of a single reason why that could be, even in the general philosophical sense. People are afraid to trust mainstream media sources or even outlets like this one. Mika and Joe from The Morning Joe show on MSNBC went to meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. So now people people aren't just boycotting their show, they're boycotting the entire network. People are afraid to trust scientists. You have teenagers who haven't graduated from high school yet thinking they know more about very complicated topics than people who have studied said topics their entire lives at very high levels. If people still believe the earth is flat and that the earth is 6,000 years old, there is no ceiling as to what they'll believe. And look, if fluoride turns out not to be a good thing for us to have in our drinking water, then show us the supporting evidence. The lack of it makes it very difficult for people to build any kind of convincing case one way or the other, but the presence of it would actually help. I don't think people are emotionally attached to the idea of fluoride as a political or ideological or even scientific concept. And that's the thing with science. And that's why it's more trustworthy than, any religious text really, because pre-existing beliefs are adapted and updated with the presence of new information. Supporting evidence of certain claims might actually convince people of things, but you can't use, your third eye isn't open so you wouldn't get it anyway as an effective way to promote your ideas. And that yogi to conspiracy theorist pipeline is absolutely real. And if you don't believe me, just scroll through the comment section after your next YouTube yoga session. Also, side note, I really love how ancient Eastern philosophies are bastardized and appropriated, gentrified, whatever you want to call it, by these MAGA people, but that is nothing new. But if you don't trust media sources, if you don't trust experts, if you don't trust academics, if you don't trust scientists or doctors, then who do you trust? If you're not reading books, whether fiction or nonfiction, and all you're doing is consuming YouTube videos and TikToks, then how are you developing any kind of complex thought or emotion? If the only things that are real are things that you can see and experience for yourself, apart from God, which is apparently the only exception, then your worldview is woefully myopic. This really does feel like an intentional dumbing down of the electorate, and it's scary to see that it's working so easily. Our brains have all been fried by social media and the mainstream media, and the result is that we're all fearful and untrusting and suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I know that that term is overused these days, but it's for good reason. It's really shocking to see people pretend to be experts on topics because they watched a YouTube video on it. I saw someone use the word precutaneous today in an Instagram comment section, a word that he very clearly just learned, and acted like he knew more on the topic than everybody else in that already inane comment section because he had been exposed to that particular word. Imagine how much more he would have been exposed to if you read a book. All right, anyway, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.